In the previous lesson of Enscape for RHINO, we saw how we can import assets from the library and also how we can import external objects from websites like Polyoven, for example. And we use this model right here. And so we started to populate our scene in the exteriors and in the interiors to make it a little bit more interesting. And in this video, we're going to talk about materials. So how we can apply, how we can get materials from the Enscape library, also how we can edit them, and also some problems that are related to materials. So this is the previous scene right here. And also going to show you something about what we're gonna do in this lesson here. So this is going to be lesson number 6, and you will see the same scene but with some materials applied. And let me see here. Okay, we need to wait for the materials and the texture to load and we can synchronize. There you go. Now I've also adjusted the quality here using the settings. So visual settings, I decreased the quality to medium because if you're working every time with ultra quality, well, you have the possibility to see how the lighting is working, everything is working out, but it's also going to be heavier. Also, the high render quality is going to be heavier. So medium, you can see it's kind of pretty flat in terms of lighting, but we don't care about lighting right now. We are concentrating on other topics and issues, so like materials, and I think this one works the best. Draft is probably too much and probably also too bright. Medium, I think it's the correct settings for this. So later on, we're also going to talk about other stuff in here, but we can adjust the exposure a little bit, and we can adjust the field of view if you're not synchronized in the RHINO view. So you can go to the visual settings and adjust the field of view a little bit. And I think that's fine for what we need to do. So we imported objects in the previous lesson that already had materials applied. And in that case, everything comes together. But in other cases, like this house here I created in RHINO, I've applied here like a nice material for the exteriors, and also in the interiors I applied a wooden floor, but you can see it's not applied everywhere. There is an area where it's not applied, and this is because I divided the surface into many pieces, and also I will show you how to do that. Now, before we start, you remember that at the beginning of the course, a few lessons ago, we downloaded some samples from the official website. Now, between these samples, among these samples, you will find Enscape material exhibition, which is basically a panoramic tour of every material that is available directly in Enscape. Anything more than that, you need to create it yourself, getting the textures from a website or others, but we will talk about that later. So I'm gonna run this application real quick. I'm gonna double click and wait for this application to be loaded, which is essentially a 3D scene containing a lot of spheres and planes, but really useful if you want to have like a complete picture of what Enscape has to offer in terms of preset materials. So nothing that you need to do, is everything that is already been prepared for you. And we can see here, we can navigate as usual. So WASD, shift to go faster, control to go even faster, and then you can go one by one and take a look to everything if you have time, if you want to see how they look before you even apply them. So you can see divided by category here. So we have bricks at the beginning, and then all the glasses over there. So let me go here. Then we have concrete, and we have fabric, like clothing or carpets, things like that. Glass, so various types of glass for windows and transparent elements. Grounds, these are, we use the grass because we apply that directly, naming an object in RHINO, but here you find all different terrains you can use or grounds. And then you have metals for metallic materials, pavement, so tiling, external, internal pavements, and then we have plasters for walls, which also you can apply colors to. So this is like plain white or plain gray plaster, and then we have plastics. Then we have roads and then roofs. Here we have stones, tiles for bathroom, kitchen, bedroom, etc., wallpapers, and then wood, which you can see you can apply it to furniture or to a floor, like this one here, for example. And among these, there is the one that I've used. So you can go through here and see which one you like. It's like a showcase and an exhibition of every material. So you can see, okay, I like this one here. Just remember the name. So this is like wood 42, and then you can import it in Enscape and use it. Okay, let's leave this scene. So I'm gonna close here, and also I want to show you quickly where your downloaded materials will go when you download them from the asset library. So they will go in your computer and in the user, in the name of your user, and in Enscape. There you go. That's the folder, imported textures. And these are all the textures that I imported so far by importing these materials that you see here. And inside each of these, you will find a texture. Now, the most important texture are the roughness, which defines where the material is glossy or not glossy, or less glossy or more glossy, depending on how much white you have. Then you have the albedo, which is the most important one. It defines the appearance, the general appearance of the material. And then you have the normal. The normal is usually purple, like this, purplish, and you represent a 3D effect, 3D fake effect of the surface, like a relief, which makes the material more realistic. And this we can be called, we can consider this to be PBR, or physically based render materials, in a way, because they use these type of textures. Okay, so every time you import, this is the folder. Now, why I show you this? Because if you take this file into another computer which doesn't have the same exact downloaded textures, you probably won't visualize that material as good as it should be, because it probably is going to miss the textures. So the textures that you used, they will be always like outside the file of RHINO or Enscape that you're working with. So they're going to be just linked. So if you break that link, you won't be able to see the material or the texture. Let me just give you a quick demonstration. If I go in the layers here, I apply the materials through the layers, and I can apply the materials through the layers. I can access the properties, and I can select an object. And in this case, I will select this part of the pavement in my project. So you can see it's a divided surface that is going to be needed just to place the pavement. It's like you have like the bottom there, and then you extract only one part, because this is like the kitchen area. So I don't want to put the wooden floor here. I want to put another type of material. So you need to divide that into RHINO. You cannot do it in Enscape. So here we go in the properties, and we go to the second one, which is the material. And right now it's using the layer material, which sometimes you don't want to do that, because you don't want to apply the same material for a lot of objects. You just want to apply a specific material from that one. So if I click here, it's going to appear the list of materials that I can use. And these are the ones that I created importing objects. Then there are others that I directly created inside RHINO. And then if I go all the way to the bottom, usually this is where you'll find the ones from Enscape that you will import. But I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Let me just go up, and among these there are these purplish materials. Now this is a sign that something is going wrong, and also this exclamation mark is telling you, okay, there's something wrong in here. So let's apply this. So for that, I'm just gonna like right click and do assign to layer or assign to object. Okay, I can just double click, and you can see it's going to be applied. And so this is a physically based material, so PBR material, and everything looks fine except for this base color. So the base colors tells me that there is a texture here, this little checkerboard. But if I go here, it's probably having an issue with this for some reason. Probably is not finding that texture. So I'm going to delete it. And you can see now it's not giving me any issue. This is now looking like a gray, pretty plastic and glossy material. So if I want, I can apply a new texture in here, or I can open and search for that text that is missing. So when you like copy and paste your project into another computer, you remember you need to take the folder where the texture are stored with you. Otherwise, you won't be able to see them. And you can reach that folder that I just showed you in your user folder, or I'm just gonna apply here a random image just to show you here. So let's apply, I don't know, this, okay? And now we should see it, there you go, visualize it in there. And then we need the mapping, which is another issue we're gonna address. So I'm just gonna delete this. I'm just gonna apply an Enscape material now. So when it comes to materials, you either create a new one here. So, and I definitely suggest you go with physically based or with the custom material here. They will work both. So now this is custom, and I'm gonna apply like an orange material just to show you quickly. Now, when you apply just a color without texture, that's not gonna give you any issue because you don't know which scale is that, and you don't care. When we apply the texture, you will see we're gonna have some problems probably. So we either apply a custom or PBR material with RHINO, or we can go in the material libraries of Enscape, which are found right here. So we saw the 3 buttons at the beginning of the course. Then this one is for bringing in the objects or models, 3D models with the textures. This one here is for the materials. So import predefined materials. If I click here, this is going to open up, and this is where I can get materials. So let's assume this is a kitchen. I want to put some stone material in there, or like some tiles. So not really stones, but let's go into tiles. And let's see if there is something interesting. You can always change the look of the material one way or the other, or you can also create your own. You can customize them and create your own. So I don't really like anything of this, but let's assume that I want to put, let's say this one here, okay? So we go down here and we import the selection, and you can see that now it's telling us imported materials can be now applied and edited. So this means that it's in our project. You can also click on the little heart to make it your favorite, so you can always find them in the favorite folder. And also, if you click on this imported text storage, again, it's going to show you that folder where your imported texts of the materials that you are importing are being saved, which is the one that I just showed you. Again, this is C, users, name of a user, Enscape, imported textures. All right. And also, you can see here is giving you some suggestions that you can import, export using mat pkg, and then here also relocating textures will cause issues. So be careful, and be careful on overriding textures. Be careful on changing the names, the directory, the location, etc., etc. Especially when you work in collaborative work with other people. So put the texture location into a shared folder in that case. So it's giving us some suggestions. Now let me close and okay, where is our material? Now you cannot just drag and drop, unfortunately. This will be really handy. You can just import, and once you finish to import, you're gonna go into RHINO and find that material in there. So let's close this up and let's go back to the list of material. We already selected the object, so we all need to do is to go and find that. Now, if you remember the name, you can just type here the name and filter the search, or again, usually they will be found at the bottom of this list. There you go. So they are put like in a chronological order. So also this is showing you if the material is there and if it's selected. And if you click, then you can apply the material. Now, the only problem and the other issue you may find, and this is pretty popular and common, is that the texture is going to be too big. Your material is going to be too big. So the material is good. You can also change the name. I can put here like kitchen tiles. Okay, it's telling me that it's an Enscape material, but I can, always go to another one. And you can see it now, I've lost that. So be careful on that. So now we need to, okay, so we kind of damaged this one here. So for that, to solve that, we go back and we either re-import it from here, or this is the material editor or tune materials in the project. It means that you can manage the materials in the project. And it says select a material to edit. And in my case, it will be this kitchen tiles, which is now, some generic material. And to change it, we can substitute this. So if I click here, also I can export the material as a package, import a material package, and then replace. So I'm gonna replace, and that was not in my favorite. So I will find it again and click this time on replace. So you either import or replace, and now we're back on the track. Okay, so the two ways we can then fix this is through the material editor here in Enscape, or we need to go in the mapping in RHINO, which is explained perfectly in the RHINO video course. So for the moment, I'm just gonna stay here and try to fix it using just Enscape. So we selected the kitchen tile. Also, this orange tells you if you already explored this asset or not. So when you click here, now we are visualizing it, so that little tag went away. So let's go back to the kitchen tiles. Here we can see again the texture and where it's stored. We can see a preview of the texture, and also this is the albedo, so this is the diffuse texture, the generic texture, and then down here we have a normal map, and then we have the roughness, and they will show you how the material is behaving in these terms. And then we have also transparency down here, but we don't need it right now. And as you can see, we can modify them. But right now, what I'm really interested in is to adjust the mapping, which is wrong, or the size, the scale. And the only way we can do this here is in this section. So RHINO texture coordinate system applies to all textures in this material and is now in object. When you select the object, it's going to look to the UV mapping in RHINO. So if you didn't do that, you don't have it, and it's probably not useful right now. So the other way is to work word plane. So right now it's projecting from the top to the bottom. So only one projection, which is fine if you have like flat surfaces on a plane like this. It's not good when you have a wall. And let's also make now a wall. And by the way, if you change your mind, you can always come here and replace with another material. So I'm going to go into my favorites, and I have this one here, tiles 21, replace, and then I have a new one. And again, I need to change here. Now, you can use word plane. You can use also word box. In this case, doesn't make the difference, but word plane is going to be enough. Okay, let's talk about the material. So right now, I've already assigned a material to all the walls here, and it's called, I call this, well, it's an Italian name. And again, the selected one is going to be in yellow. The ones that are used is going to be in blue or purple. So what if I want a different wall? Well, you can see that in my RHINO project, the walls are only on one big object. So and the same for the pavement. So if I want to use another material, I need to separate this wall. How do I do that? Well, let's expand RHINO just a minute. And here we're gonna go to the solid tools because this is a solid, and I'm going to extract, so not move, but extract surface. I'm going to select the surface that I want to extract, like these two. Press enter, and here you can like detach completely the surface, which is good for some cases, but generally I use the copy so I can maintain a copy of that in case I need it. So let's do copy yes and press enter. So now I have an extra surface that I can use. And here I'm going to change the material. Instead of using this, I've already downloaded bricks material. So this one here, and let's see it in action. And there you go. So you can see now we have bricks in there. Now, if I move around, this overlapping of faces, it doesn't do it right now, but usually it does. So when you overlapping faces, it could give you flickering. So how to fix the flickering? Just, push the face a little bit distant from the other material. Okay, so for some reason now it's not giving that issue, but I guarantee that you will have that problem. And so just go like into another view, like in a 2D view like this, just move it slightly, that is not overlapping. Be careful not to go the other way, otherwise it's going to be disappearing behind the other wall. Okay, so just a slight movement will be fine. And this is how you apply different materials to different parts of your work. I think I'm gonna go also here with the tiles. Now this material is called tiles 21. So I'm gonna go back to Enscape and to the material editor and look for that tiles 21. So you can see that the type of mapping again is object. If I do word plane, look what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like pretty stretched and is not working properly essentially. So in this case, we use world box. World box is a projection on 6 faces instead of just one. So it's perfect like in situation when you have vertical faces and not just planar horizontal faces. And then we have all the mapping, of course, that we can do in RHINO, and in that case, we can use the object mapping. Now, the last thing I want to show you is, okay, here I had this part of the project, this phase, it was already like separated from the rest. But for the payment, for example, if I show you here, so I divided this myself. So if I delete this pavement, you can see this is part of a big pavement that is used all around the house. Or well, that's the external pavement, and then I have here like an interior pavement, okay, which is one block. So how do I get a separation in there if I don't have it, separated surface? Well, you need to create it yourself. So first of all, locate the surface that you want to separate. And probably I would go in 2D view here from the top. Okay, so you can see that here I've created a separation line, and I should do that also for the other rooms. And I will do it right now for the kitchen again. So choose where you want to divide. Probably I'm going to divide right here. And then let's expand this so you can see it. So I'm going to go back to the solid tools, and you want to go here, split planar face. There are other ways, but this is one I think it's faster and works perfectly. You need to select which face to divide. So be careful there. You may want to use another view to be sure where you are selecting. So I'm gonna select this, press enter, and then in the top view, I'm gonna split it from here. And be careful where you're snapping. You can see now it's projecting the snap. So I wanna get that exact spot. And then here, if I project, I'm gonna keep that line there on that plane and go all the other way with the projected perpendicular point. and then press enter when done. So press enter again to split, and now we have splitted this surface. Okay, once you split it, we just extract like we already done. So extract surface, select the surface, press enter, and then just put it a little bit up. Let's see if we have this problem with the flickering. So let's change the material here. Let's put a wooden floor. So I'm gonna go here with the this, okay, and let's fix it. So I'm gonna go back to Enscape, material editor, and this is gonna be this one, I think. Okay, so world box, world plane. Okay, now working. Let's see if is this one here. Okay, it's kind of not working, so I'm gonna just reset by replace it. So I'm gonna go into the wood, take this, replace, and now it works better. So world box. And I think there is a problem here with the normal map. Normal map is not working properly. So probably I'm gonna delete it completely, and also the roughness is not working properly. But anyway, we will fix this issue with the mapping, and you can see I've just replaced this. It's not having a flickering issue, so it's fine. But anyway, if you have it, just remember, just push this a little bit up so that it's not like completely in the same location of that. And this will be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated for more. And if you want to thank us and support our channel, please join the channel as a supporter. And now you can also work with the materials in your project. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next lesson.